All right, now we've been crossing to different regions throughout the program. Let's get some reaction from the Eastern Cape now regarding Finance Minister Gordhan's budget speech.
Thank you so much and good morning from Nelson Mandela Bay. There have been mixed reactions to the budget last night and a little bit of disappointment here in Nelson Mandela Bay that the Eastern Cape wasn't perhaps mentioned as much as people anticipated that it would be. But let's just unpack this with the CEO of the Business Chamber here in Nelson Mandela Bay, Kevin Husser. Kevin, let's start with the positives. Generally, how does the Business Chamber feel about the budget yesterday?
Janine, thank you. On an overall impression, I think the Minister touched on a number of the areas that were on our wish list for him to discuss. And we're very happy to see particularly the four areas that we identified. One, structural reform of the economy. The Minister placed a lot of emphasis on that throughout his talk. Also good governance, focusing on particularly corruption he mentioned, but also the fact of dealing with a bloated state right now and looking at all departments where they can possibly cut on personnel, conference expenses, all the soft stuff. I'd hope to have seen a little bit more cutting in that area, but I think he needs to extrapolate those plans moving forward. The area of obviously drought relief, very important to commercial farmers in our region. Although I don't talk on behalf of the farming community, the drought is impacting our economy entirely as a country, and so we need to be alert to that. As well as the education system. He did touch on the education system, and I glean from that he's looking at improving the situation at schools that are structurally inappropriate for learners. And in the Eastern Cape we have a lot of mud schools, so that to be cleaned up and sorted out and proper infrastructure put in place, I think is really a good note. I'm a bit concerned in that space, though, still, that there's protection for personnel in health and education. We are bloated in those two departments. They are consuming a tremendous amount of the budget, and at the end of the day, the learners are not getting the service delivery on the ground. We need to turn that around, and I think we need to go in there like a surgeon. So a little bit of a mixed bag on each of our wish list items, but overall, I think the Minister tried to appease the markets, the nation, and uplift us with a bit of morale boosting with the words and the language that he used.
Areas where you were maybe slightly disappointed?
Obviously, to follow on from your question, the Eastern Cape wasn't touched on in any big way, and we were looking as a chamber for what catalytic interventions or projects could take place to boost the economy, not only of Nelson Mandela Bay, but the entire Eastern Cape. And I mentioned, for example, Project Ntomba, the oil refinery that was destined for the Kucha IDZ. I say was right now because we're not sure. It seems to have disappeared into the mist of Cabinet and Petro SA, and we cannot get a firm answer. And business wants to know where it stands, and so we can plan strategically to be participating in that project. And it's a whole petrochemical sector that would open up in our region. So on that hand, we would like more clarity going forward, and a bit disappointed nothing was mentioned. The areas, though, where we might have also seen more unpacking would have been the ocean economy. We are a city with two ports, the only one in the country. The Eastern Cape has about 900 kilometers of coastal line, and we have about 30,000 ships passing our bay on an annual basis. So there's lots of opportunity there. I'm pleased the Minister touched on Operation Phakisa, but we're starting to feel the momentum building in that sector, and I'm certainly hoping that moving forward we'll see a lot more support from government in this area to build the ocean economy in Nelson Mandela Bay and unlock it for all the citizens.
Love it, especially when you zone in on the ocean economy. Those scarce skills definitely need to be built up. Beneficiation, another key aspect that our youngsters who are actually going into education should start looking into when wondering what to study, what area should I focus in. Those are the next frontiers, as economists would have put it. Let's leave